Good day, everyone. This is Angelo David, and I am your host for today on tonight's new podcast episode called Online Classes on the Line. And I am joined together with my trusty co host, Carlo Romeo Estrada. How are you there, Carlo?
Well, Angelo, I'm safe and thankfully at the comfort of my home considering it's quite a challenging time right now while the world is battling a global pandemic. I'm safe, guys, on air.
It sure is, it sure is. We're talking about huge changes in almost every aspect of life, like adjustments on particular norms, we got distancing, we got online schooling, and a whole lot of other ways to try and adapt and even cope to the unexpected limitations brought by the deadly virus. So again, I believe we are here to talk about some of the issues that are brought about by the new classroom environment which arose from the threats of COVID-19, the online, real-time, synchronous, and asynchronous classes. This is under the context of the Philippines' current capacity to maintain the management of this new method and more specifically around the campus of URS Taytay.
Yes. Thank you, Angelo. In the beginning, this discussion, I believe that we are to have a purpose, exchange to present an impactful element or concept relevant to the topic.
Indeed, so I think it was around three with number one, the internet and data speed, accessibility and affordability. Number two, the positive and negative impacts between an actual classroom and an online classroom to a learner's experience. And the last one, the struggles and common problems found in online classes. Let's begin with the first key concept, the Wi Fi and mobile network speed in the Philippines. Why is this a particular highlight to the issue at hand?
Well, in the 2020 Ookla Speed Test ranking around the world, the Philippines positioned poorly at 110th place from the ladder that has 139 countries, averaging only 8.5 megabits per second of internet speed. This is really low compared to at least a minimum of 25 Mbps of internet speed that is good for a household of three members. 50 Mbps for 5 to 6 and 100 Mbps for more than 7. There is also a written article by ABS-CBN News on the previous year prior to the latest ranking, claiming a headline that the Philippines is still below the global average on said speed test. And during 2019, the country has actually acquired a much higher ranking, sitting at 103rd against the same number of total countries. This means that the internet capabilities and mobile data power of the Philippines continue to decline despite massive investment on its telco future.
I suppose we can interpret from this data that this is one of the reasons why online classes are quite hard to deal with, given that that the internet in the country is clearly provided to an unsatisfactory extent. This particular factor tends to become a barrier in the potential and ideal seamlessness of online classes, giving signal problems, delay in response, or the lack thereof.
Yes, and another thing really is the affordability of the mobile load. A large chunk of students at URS Taytay are using mobile data to keep up with their online classes, both synchronous and asynchronous. Some have Wi-Fi connections, but the thing is, the capability to afford said accessibility to learn real-time via video meetings is quite struggle to consider. Given, of course, that the economy of many households are barely recovering at a time such as the pandemic we are facing.
And then there's another thing, the positive and negative impacts circulating in the arenas of online and physical classes. According to Goodwin University's article, online classes are honestly good. In a survey they conducted as to why the online classes are superb, majority came up with the following efficiencies, such as the autonomy and flexibility that are allowed for students as they learn. What did it mean? Online classes allow an individualized and comfortable pacing that makes a learning experience run and progress smoothly by the student's own preference.
But then again, is it right for everyone? Should this become the norm or just stay as an alternative given the presence of a pandemic? You see, there's more to that article claiming about one in every four students believe they learn better via the online class method. This means that a majority of three from every four students believe that traditional classroom performs much better than the new normal.
I remember some of the members of the faculty we interviewed last time at the campus. We have, as a subject today, mostly argued that synchronous classes are indeed a quite of a struggle given that it does not really cater to everyone in our current situation and capability. They mentioned that the essence of teaching actually works best when it is personal, interactive and responsive, essentially face to face. The value of turn takings is greatly held within this previous traditional premise that almost often online classes do not have, because usually the responses are at an awful minimum as cameras and microphones are deactivated. Some are even getting disconnected while classes are ongoing in real time because of students' load subscriptions expiring. That, among others, and among other particular barriers, lessen the activeness and participation on traditional classrooms that online ones seem to struggle having and maintaining.
To support this, the University of Potomac published an article presenting the importance of traditional classroom and education. There's active learning, one of the top reasons that traditional campus life can benefit a student's college is life, having contact with the professors and instructors. With online learning, the options are realistically limited. On campus, students can set up face-to-face meeting with their professors to discuss the class, their performance, or inquiries about a project. It also maintains interpersonal relationships. Students are involved with the different people throughout their college experience. One benefit of being enrolled in an on-campus university is creating meaningful relationships that will probably last for years. The college experience is entirely about having to be part of many individual and group projects which require you to communicate with your colleagues. Different clubs that are created in the university, gatherings to study for exams, and the sharing of the study notes are some of the ways through which one can maintain interpersonal relationships. While retaining those relationships on campus is quite easy, doing online so will surely be a problem.
The last concept would be the struggles and common problems found in online classes. But by the way, thank you so much for that statement. So on an online journal published by Doug Valentine from the University of Oklahoma, he was able to mention that despite the promises and obvious advantages to distance learning, there are problems that need to be resolved. These problems include the interrelationships between quality of instruction, number one, number two, the misuse of technology, and the last one is the attitudes of instructors, students, and administrators. Starting with the concern on quality of instruction, data collected in 1999 study by Elliot Inman and Michael Kerwin showed that instructors had conflicting attitudes about teaching distance education. They report that after teaching one course, the majority of instructors were willing to teach another, but that they rated the quality of the course as only equal or lower quality than the other classes taught on campus. Many times it is pointed out the belief that administration believes the technology itself will improve the quality of the class. But as Paloff and Pratt on their statement said in 2000, it's reminding us that technology does not teach students. but effective teachers do. Putting it simply, if the administration, instructors, and students are lacking in true and shared commitment, it is bound to have a negative influence on the entire distance learning experience as a whole.
In supporting to this statement, I remember reading an excerpt in the same research that Palos and Pratt created, and it says the misuse of technology is as an integral issue to this virtual classroom setup. Misuse could mean the incapacity to effectively transition from traditional habits into new ones, technological problems, and gaps, or the responsible utilization of such on the part of the students as well. For such a setup, like having classes online, technology offers a two-way outcome being positive if it's used to a beneficial advantage and negative if it only causes a particular lag to what should be a seamless, simultaneous learning experience.
The last one is the attitude of every role in this kind of learning that functions out contributions to its effective delivery. As in any educational situation, especially during a pandemic, it was recommended best that the instructor can set the tone for learning in the educational environment. What does it mean? Like Weber suggested way back in 1996, a teacher or professor can present multimedia presentations. If in case usual lectures work ineffectively on this class setup, that could mean we could use videos, audio podcasts like this one. This is an extremely important way to look at how to keep a class effective past the traditional benefits because, as cited in Walcott's statements, faculties need to look at the distance teaching from the student's point of view. This is in order to effectively stitch and bridge gaps existing within the experience. It is important for the instructors to develop a sense of community between the sites, achieve maximum participation, and get the participants to buy in to the process. The idea of learning as a collaborative process is very important, especially when students are separated by distance. Because after all, like Paloff and Pratt claimed in their research, collaborative learning processes assist students to achieve deeper levels of knowledge generation through the creation of shared goals, shared exploration, and a shared process of meaning making. All of these are in criteria that traditional classes often produce, but then with the right amount of determination, commitment, and proper attitude, online classes may well as be successful in doing the same past the same in doing the same past its notable struggles. That would be all for this podcast episode on online classes on the line. Again, I am your host Angelo David.
And I am your host, co-host, Carlo Romeo Estrada.
Thank you so much for listening. God bless us all and stay safe.